Welcome back, everyone, here to Bronx Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about six Yankees to look out for this spring training. Now, obviously, there's a ton of players to look out for this spring training, like there is every year. You got your big names like Aaron Judge. You got some fresh faces, some big fresh faces in Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo, and Marcus Stroman. But we're going to be giving you some players that are young, on the come up, as well as some guys that are looking to bounce back and prove some things. And I think this spring training is definitely going to be the most important for these guys. Guys like Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, it's obviously amazing to see some of the greatest players in baseball take the field once again, get on that diamond and showcase their talents. But, we know what they can do, right? We know all the talent they have. And we're going to be talking about guys that, need to prove something. And this spring training is very, very valuable to these guys, and we're going to be talking about them. So, Christian, who do we have first?
One guy who's going to be interesting is Carlos Rodon. We've seen all the reports about how slim he looks, and that is great, right? That is all we could really ask for at this point in time. But his spring is going to be very important. And I think there's two really big things that we're going to be looking out for. The first thing is his velocity, right? I mean, that was down a little bit last year. And even going beyond the velocity, just the overall life on his fastball, it was drastically different. I mean, if you compare it from 2022 to 2023, there is a huge drop off. And who knows how much of that is injury related. But I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest things with him. And really, the second I would say is command. I think last year he kind of struggled getting that fastball
Yes.
really up in the zone. And when you leave that fastball in the middle, it's just not effective. So, it's spring. I would, a lot of pitchers work on things, but I think the biggest thing for Rodon is, are we seeing differences from last year?
Yeah, absolutely. His command was definitely a big problem for him last year. I want to see how he attacks hitters, how he is able to put them away, deep in counts. And, I don't want him to get like a guy 0-2 and then he somehow ends up walking. I want to see how he's able to attack batters and that whole sequence. But there is definitely a lot to watch with Carlos Rodon, no doubt about it. Up next, we have Luis Gil. Now, Christian, we haven't seen much of Luis Gil. Obviously had a breakout season in 2021 when he came up, broke a record, I think, for most scoreless innings or most scoreless outings for the Yankees or something like that. And he was dominant in 2021. He was really, really good. I think he got banged up maybe once or twice towards the very end of the year. But for the most part, Luis Gil was very, very solid in 2021. Had a very electric fastball, high 90s, and just had really, really good looking stuff, right? Had that put away slider as well. And then 2022, we saw him pitch in one game. Then he needed to get Tommy John. So we haven't seen him in a while, Christian. We obviously know the kid has a ton of talent, but where is that talent? What do we have left with Luis Gil? He's kind of in no man's land right now. We don't even know what we have in him. So it's not like we could trade him or something like that. But I do know Luis Gil is very talented, and I just want to see Luis Gil pitch against live batters this spring. It's been a very long time since we've seen him, and I just want to see how he can do. And hopefully he can have a good spring, because I think if he does have a good spring, that'd be one more depth piece, one more addition to the Yankees, and I think it'd be very, very big for them to see what they do with him going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Gil, he's kind of in that battle really for the sixth starter, or if a guy goes down, who's going to step in. He has an important spring ahead of him because as you said, we haven't seen much of him. He's kind of got to prove it. Look, if he went out there this spring and he kind of looked like a disaster, he can kind of fall in that Yankee system and find himself stuck in AAA this season. And he might get bailed out because the Yankees don't have a lot of pitching depth. But on the other side, if he has a really good spring, I really think he's next up if a guy goes down in the rotation. And who knows, he could even find himself in sort of a long relief position in the bullpen. So, it's an important spring for him. And another guy who's kind of fighting for that job is Will Warren. And I 100% think he's going to get a shot this year. but this guy has a lot of talent. However, spring is going to be important for him. And I really think if there's one pitcher to watch, it's this guy because he has gotten so much praise from Aaron Boone, scouts, reporters. And look, to a certain degree, they do that with everyone, but this guy especially, people are saying he has some serious talent. So, I've seen different things. Some people project him, to be a 3 maybe in the big leagues, but look, I think this guy's really good stuff, and I'm definitely going to be tuning into a few of his starts. I really hope some of them are broadcasted.
Yeah, absolutely. We've heard a lot about Will Warren, and he's definitely competing for that, sixth spot in the rotation. And I think we're definitely going to see Will Warren at some point this year, regardless of his spring goes. But he's a young player. He's going to be facing some major league hitters, and I want to see how he can do. I want to see how he can attack these guys and go about his business, and hopefully he has a very nice spring. Up next, we have Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones, obviously, on some lists, Yankees #1 prospect. On others, he's #2 behind Dominguez. Whatever you want to rank him, it doesn't matter. He is a phenomenal player. And this year is really the first year we're going to see a lot of Spencer Jones. We saw him a little bit at the end of last year's spring training, but this year I believe he's going to get a lot of playing time. He's going to be able to showcase his talents more. And we're going to be able to see a lot more Spencer Jones. I think that's really important, to see how his development has gone. And, this is the guy the Yankees think is going to be a part of their team, a part of their future for a very long time. So it's going to be really nice to see his talents, see what he's doing really, really well, see what he needs to improve on, and just go from there. But I'm really, really excited to see Spencer Jones.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a ton of hype. I'd say he's probably, the #1 guy to look out for this spring. I don't think we're going to see him in the majors this year. If the Yankees didn't have so much outfield depth, I would say there's a good shot. But just because they have so many guys, I just think they're going to let him take his time. He'll get to AAA, probably middle summer, and then play it out there. And then the idea would be next year with all the free agents that you have, he would slide into an outfield spot. But I'm telling you, this guy is special. He gets the Aaron Judge comparisons. I'm really excited to watch him. Now, the next guy we have is Ben Rice. He is, I guess, what we would call our 4th string catcher. He hasn't made it further than AA, so he's still down there. But this guy's kind of on the come up. He's a lefty catcher. I think you could compare him to Austin Wells a bit. If anything, maybe a little bit more pop.
Yeah.
Haven't heard much about his defense. He is young, so, that still has time to progress. But it seems like he has a lot of raw power from the left side, and he's a catcher. I mean, right away, that is very attractive as a fan. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this guy competes with a mix of big league pitching and guys, in the minors and spring, because, we'll kind of get a sense, is this guy ready or does he need maybe a year or two to still develop? We've seen some clips already of him facing, Stroman, guys throwing live BP. His swing looks really good, Ryan. And, I'm excited to see him in game against live pitching and just see how that goes. Because I think this guy can be really special, but I'm interested to see if he has, a decent amount more development to go.
Last but certainly not least, we have Clayton Beeter, acquired in the Joey Gallo trade. I'm required to say that by law. And Clayton Beeter last year was very, very dominant in AA. He was having a phenomenal season, made the Futures game with Spencer Jones, and then got called up to AAA, kind of got roughed up a bit, but this guy's going to start the year, I would suspect, in AAA. And he's also in the mix for that 6th starting spot. I think we'll also see Clayton Beeter as well this year. And I'm really excited to see this guy because this guy is a nice moxie, nice presence to him on the mound. And I'm just really, really excited to see what he can do.